Your Eagles are 10-1, 37-34 OT victory. Welcome into the postgame here at Edge of Philly Sports. I'm Big Al. I'm here with Pat. I'm here with Mitch. We might be seeing Matty B, but after the shit he was talking this morning, we'll see. We'll see. But this is a brown pants game, ladies and gentlemen. A brown pants game because you're on the edge of your seat the entire time. Believe it or not, it's hard to watch a game where you're going to overtime like this and win it, and it's not the Commanders. No, but we all knew it was going to come down to a battle, a lot of self-inflicted wounds on both sides of the field. But ultimately, the important part is the Eagles have won and are 10-1. In this gauntlet we spoke of. They beat Dallas, they beat the Chiefs, now they beat the Bills. They have now coming up the Niners, Dallas, and the Seahawks, but we'll get into that later. Today we're talking Eagles-Bills victory, 37-34. Mitch, I'm going to throw it right to you, man. Just your reactions right off the bat, bro.
Why can't they play like this all game? That's like my question. Why is it always the first half every single game? And my player of the game is Devontae Smith. I'm telling you, he had great catches down the wire. Give me Devontae Smith for that. But, wow. Run the dang ball. Run the dang ball. That's it.
Pat, break to you, bro.
You know what? You know, it's to what Mitch is preaching here. You know, this team, you know, to sound the corny cliche going around Philadelphia, they are rocky. You know what I mean? The first half of the game, they take a whooping like no one else's business. They take everything that the Bills, the Chiefs, the Cowboys, they've taken everything from the opponent, and then they somehow make all the right adjustments coming out of that locker room and figure things out. I don't understand it. You've seen it. It's just been RPO after RPO after RPO. Every play. It's kind of they run the ball like 30% of the time in the second half. You saw, especially in that overtime drive, you saw in the fourth down drive, that last drive, it was just up tempo, just pass, and they were connecting on everything. That's the big difference here, and that's, like I said, to me. Devontae Smith just being the playmaker today, just getting wide open over the field, over the middle. And I got to give kudos to Josh Allen here. Josh Allen, I thought he was going to be not that much of an issue. I thought, okay, he waffled the Jets, no big deal. No, he played like a playmaker today. Of course, McDermott knows this area very, very well. And of course, Josh Allen just kind of like, he took off a little bit. He had 81 yards, just carrying the ball today. So, I got to give kudos to him. He played very well. And again, if I want to give a player of the game, it's got to be Jalen Hurts. He looked very sloppy in that first half. So that second half, he played at his MVP level. He was making all the right throws. And again, you just saw that last drive. He took the wide open spot. He ran the ball in, threw his hands up. Now what? Got to give the Jalen.
Well, you guys are like kids on Christmas morning. You couldn't wait to open up that package and tell us your players of the game.
Oh, we love opening packages here, buddy.
We're all excited. Welcome in, Matty B, and it's just good timing with Steve's comments up on the screen. Bring it, Matty B, bring it.
What does he want me to bring? I'll bring it.
All right, Matty. Let me ask you this question, because we had a little fun back and forth when you're commenting on PM this morning. Can we all just agree that this team is not a prototypical football team where, the better stats win the game? I mean, if I'm looking at the stats now, time of possession, 40-plus minutes to 26, almost 27 minutes to the Eagles. They win the Bills win the time of possession. Turnovers for a loss, Eagles 2-1, both times scored upon. Third down percentage, 60% almost from the Bills, 36% for the Eagles. Passing yards, 340 almost to 200 for the Eagles. And rushing yards is the only where we edge them out, 185 to 173. But again, I don't want to say it's almost just like the Chiefs game, but a lot of similarities to this Chiefs game. They just know how to win. Can we agree upon that, Matty B? I guess that's a no.
No. They're a fraud. This team is a fraud. This team's a fraud. They're doing it with smoke and mirrors. There's no reason they should have won this game. There's none. There isn't. Missed horse collar penalty. 2 pass interference penalties on Slay not called.
I disagree. That was not a horse collar. Not a horse collar.
No. Come on, they were clear
I'm
as
on
day.
match
Let's
code
go.
on that one.
Listen, you guys.
No.
You guys want to sit up here and blame the officials when the Eagles lose. I'm going to blame them when they win. All right, because today they got a gift from the Zebras. Hallelujah, amen.
Now listen. I'm going to tell you right now, that was not a horse collar. He did not pull him down by the back. His hand was on the back of his
horse collar. They ripped his jersey off. You can see him grab underneath his other hand. Come on, Al.
That's the front of the jersey. The horse collar. He did not have this like this.
Now.
That was not a horse collar. I'm going to say it right now. I'm not being a homer.
Listen, is it a big vat of green Kool-Aid in the back? What exactly are you drinking out of, man? And that was a horse collar all day long. I'm going to take that to the bank. But listen,
I see a horse collar that's back in the pads. You drag him down. His hand was not in the pads. His fist was balled up in the back. That's what a horse collar is.
What to say? Is Joey Sheeran back there telling you what to say? Is that what's going on right now?
No. I am telling you. I sat there. You can ask my wife. I'm like, that is not a horse collar. I'm not saying that because I'm an Eagles fan. That wasn't a horse collar. Because you know what? I'll tell you right now. If it was the other way around, I'm like, we got away with a ticky-tack call there. That was not a horse collar. I'm going to say it 1,000 times. So let's hit some of these comments. So this was harder than it needed to be. The run was almost 75% of the game. Yeah, we'll get into that in a moment. Is there a leprechaun in their leprechaun green jerseys? Yeah, I guess getting lucky is what he's talking about. Who calls the play second half? Well, it's supposed to be the same guy calls the first half. Lou's saying every week they don't play until the second half. All right, you know what? Mitch, I'll give you this one. Is that true, or is it do they got to find their way first?
To me, that's when they make all their adjustments.
Wait, your name, Mitch? Your name's not Mitch.
I'm
sorry.
I feel like this is just
that's
like
my Mitchy Poo.
Oh, here we go again. I'm gonna get DMs calling me Mitchy Poo now. But it's every week. I don't know what's going on here. Like, is it a Philadelphia thing? You know, just to play bad in the first and then win the second half. Like, is it a Philadelphia thing? Like, I don't know. It's getting crazy.
I don't know. Maybe the betting gods like Philly because they do this every time. I don't know. Let's see. The OC needs DC, in my opinion. The OC needs DC, in my opinion. Our bad. I guess the OC and the DC are bad is what he's trying to say. B. Johnson is the opposite of AR. Worst scripter in the history of football. I'll agree with that. His scripts, some of the calls are just mind-bendingly weird. I'll still say try to bring in Rex Ryan as a consultant, just like Vic Fangio last year, and nobody complained. It's second set of eyes to decide. I don't know. I just think Rex Ryan. I don't know. I was never a big Rex Ryan fan, to be honest with you. Anybody else want to disagree with me on that? Would anybody? I mean, listen, you bring anybody in as a consultant, I really don't care. But would anybody be against this, and would anybody be happy with Rex Ryan having any influence over this defense?
Can Rex Ryan play middle linebacker?
No, he cannot.
Then I don't want to see Rex Ryan here. He serves me no purpose then.
How about you, Mitch? Rex Ryan, yay or nay?
Probably nay. I'm going nay on that one.
Pat?
Nay. Like, again, me and Mike Papernick, I love that guy, but we've battled about this for a whole episode. Why? Like, what's the big love for him? Because he's Buddy's kid. I don't get it. Like Matt says, what service did he? Unless he's playing, he doesn't do any service to the team. No, I'm good.
Oh my word! Jeff says, "What a way to fight back." No, if they will play like this the first half, woo! I mean, I feel like that should just be the story of like if you're gonna do a special on the entire year so far of the Eagles. That could be the name of the DVD right there. Hi, guys. Patrick Bernard. Yeah, hi. What's going on? What's going on, man? Send a link to join. Tony Yang. Thanks. Tony, you can just comment along, bud. Thanks. When we think the Eagles or keep running the ball, after they show how good they can run, then they turn from it. Makes no freaking sense. I as nerves at the end. Okay. Calm down. Yeah, I feel like we're all going to need a little nightcap after tonight. It is like the opposite of the '90s Flyers. They'd win the faceoffs. They would outshoot the other teams, high quality and quantity. They would somehow let the other team's goalie look like Hasek. Okay, I'll go with that. Next week, Niners. Yeah, we can start talking about them a little bit now. Goodwin Eagles. We always do good in the second half. I don't know what the second. I guess is that the fourth quarter? The second of the second half.
Is that the second half of the fourth quarter?
Yeah, I don't. Whatever it is. Both teams. Defenses were well known for not letting up any points in the third. But both teams did this week, so a little bit of difference there. But again, let's talk about this, and you guys tell me, the similarities to last week's game with the Chiefs. Some missed opportunities from the other team that could have definitely went their way. That game could have ended with a win with a touchdown if Davis turned a different way. There was also the way they kind of came out slow, and it took a DeAndre Swift big run to get the ball rolling for this team, and then they started cooking on all cylinders, and it came down to a last minute score for them to win it all. Matty B, I know. Listen, yes. I know this isn't the way you want it. But can you please tell me, 10-1 Eagles after the Super Bowl? Might I add? I mean, I think they said that during the broadcast. No team since like the Bills back in the '80s or whatever it was was 9-1 after losing in the Super Bowl.
First of all, let me kind of disparage a rumor. This is not what I not want. I'm not looking for the Eagles to lose. I just want everybody to understand that. I'm just convinced or concerned about the ultimate prize, and that's the Super Bowl. And you can tell me all you want. We can go over these great wins, these great comebacks, these second half miraculous finishes all you want. This is not a Super Bowl winning team right now. It's not. It is absolutely not. It is not going to win a Super Bowl the way they played all season long. 10-1 is great. What does that trophy look like, Al? What does the 10-1 trophy look like? It doesn't look like anything because it is nothing. But it's not.
There's nothing there to look at, though. That's my point. Like, you have to listen. Let's put it this way. Right now, we are the highest percentage to win the Super Bowl. Why? Because we're the only team with a playoff berth at this moment in time. As of right now,
I understand.
But I'm just saying, like, this is the way games are going to be played out.
Getting all excited, Al. Jeez,
these look like playoff games. Like, this is how it works.
I understand that, but we're getting to that point, right? We're moving through this gauntlet so far now. What, 3-0? You got to be impressed. They're doing the right things at the right times, and I understand it. But that will eventually run out. Cinderella is going to the Blue Oyster Bar at some point. And I don't know when that point will be, but it's going to happen.
Since when we call Pat Cinderella?
Yeah.
Wait. Now you asked the question: what are the similarities between last week's game and this week's game? More like, what are the similarities between today's game and every other friggin' game this season? They're the same recipe. It's the same script. They're running it out every week, and they're doing the same things every week. But there is one similarity that I like to point out: Jalen Hurts and DeAndre Swift both had 14 carries in this game. Last week, they both had 12 carries. The other two running backs had 2 carries last week and 2 carries today. That is a horrible recipe right now. Jalen Hurts is grimacing on a couple of those plays at the end of the game. You got to stop putting him in that position. There's something that's got to give with this rushing attack. So that's my similarity from the two games.
Steve agrees with me. Not a horse collar.
Because you both are on crack. You're both smoking crack, man. That was a horse collar. They'll study that in NFLU about what a horse collar looks like. You both are wrong. It was a horse collar.
All right, real quick. Let's jump into some of these comments. I want to hear what people have to say. Let's see. I kind of got a little. Wow, we missed a lot. Sorry, guys. So Freddie's saying fire Howie. That's his way of saying hello to Matty B. Mike saying Rex Ryan as he or DC, or I guess head coach or DC, had top 5 defense. Yes, and that was like 20 years ago. Austin Hamill, what a win. Absolutely. Had the player grabbed slowly the upper collar area or grabbed it first for primary leverage, then I would agree it would be a horse collar. Yeah.
Gene Skeletor, Steven is not, okay?
Resilience, Hurts just doesn't lose. He finds a way. You have to admit, like looking over at the sidelines, they peer over. Everybody's just sitting there like, game's not over. We're not done yet. Like they just have this look in the eyes. Like I didn't hear a fat lady sing. Like, I heard no fat lady, and I didn't hear any singing coming from this fat lady. How come Mo complained about Vic Fangio last year? And that was
Oh God.
I don't know.
Did I miss something?
I don't know. He just Mike wants Rex Ryan on the Eagles sidelines more than anybody I've ever met in my life. Hey guys, what's up? That was an unfreaking real in OT tonight. 10-1, absolutely. Brad Ryan saying I'll be at the 49ers game. Will any of you guys be there? Possibility. I'm not sure just yet, but possibility. I need to order more baby aspirin. My heart can't take these games. Yeah, you just better get like an aspirin drip right now because that's what we're gonna need, guys. What an amazing win! Ryan's come back. Swift, slowly great long runs. Excellent win tonight. Great coverage as always, guys. Thanks, Jess. Showing great runs. Gotcha. 18 for 31, 200 yards is not good.
Oh my God, that name.
That is
CTH is here.
That is Jalen Hurts' stats. I mean, again, let's look at the stats from left to right, from quarterback to quarterback. Here you go. Josh, if I said the guy who was 29 for 51 with 339 yards, 2 TDs, and 1 interception, and the other guy was 18 for 31 with 200 yards and 3 TDs and an interception, it is what it is. But again, it's not going to be 1 for 1, and this is the way I guess I just learned to accept that this is the way this team is. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be typical. It's just, I don't care how it be, as long as the B turns into a W. That's what I care about in the long run.
If I can add, so what I'm taking it for this, okay, like this is what we want, right? We want to see where we measure up in the NFL. Okay, we faced the Cowboys before the break. We just faced the Kansas City Chiefs last week, and we just faced the Bills team. Bills are not exactly knocking on the playoff doors, but they need this win to qualify them into that wild card realm. But however, still a dangerous quarterback at the helm. So to me, is though they're winning these dogfights, this could be your sample size of what you want for the playoffs when it gets down to the wire, and knowing that the Eagles could walk out on the other side of the stick and on the other side as the winner. So that's what I do like about the team. But I'm with Matt. Like, at some point, it's going to catch up with you. At some point or later, at some point, the L is going to come along with the ride. And this the second half miracle. I don't know what they do. I don't know what the message is from Nick Sirianni and the coaching staff in that second half, but maybe just Jalen Hurts just makes the decision making and all that come play. That second half. I don't know what it is, but there's definitely something with this team that when it comes to dogfights, they win it all the time. And we can be grateful for that.
And listen, give Matty B his due. I agree with him. To live this way is borderline unsustainable. But at the same time, you just can't quite. I mean, if we were beating subpar teams, all right. If it wasn't the Chiefs, like if we were playing if this was a Washington game, I wouldn't be like, oh hey guys, Super Bowl bound man after that OT win. I get that, but you beat the Chiefs this way. You left Dallas in the game, and now you beat the Bills this way. I mean, you're beating the top teams. Who else is there to beat, even when you're beating them this way? Like, I take it if you're playing cooking on all cylinders, all 4 quarters, this should be a riot, for lack of better words, for this team. It should just be a jailbreak. But there's, I get you can't win by, I don't call it luck, but like by the ball bouncing your way in certain ways. But they are beating the best of the best with it. Like, there's nobody better out there they could have beaten like this so far. I mean, except like maybe the Niners right now.
But to the aspect though, you look at the quarterback play. 2 weeks in a row, Mahomes again against the Birds, and then week prior against the Dolphins came to a dogfight. Yeah, he granted that one, but I mean it's still shaky with him. They can't score in that second half. Dak Prescott, he'll take you down to the wire, but we all eventually know his story. He's going to choke the ball away. I mean, with Jalen though, there's that dogfight mentality where he takes the game upon himself and makes the big play. That's I will give the Birds their due. But again, to what everyone's saying in the room, you can't be living on eggshells because at some point you're going to crack one of them. And I'm hoping it's not come playoff time.
And real quick, guys, because Mitch, I'm going to let you take that last comment here. But real quick, I want to remind you that if you want to travel with this team and have a heart attack in the stands, but maybe be on a vacation while you're doing it, best way to go about it is phillysportstrips.com. The Dallas game is the next away game, but it's all sold out, baby. You waited way too long. But guess what? It is available. That Seattle trip right here up on the screen. Hollis Thomas will be there. Local fans of Eagles at the Northwest Bird Gang will be there, and so much more. All the home games, they have great tailgates. Everything's there for you, plus so many other trips. Go to phillysportstrips.com right now. Tell them EOP sent you. So back to the comments for a moment. And I was right here with Steven saying, shout out to Jack Driscoll. Other than first few series, I thought he was very solid for a backup. We did not hear his name at all in the second half. And we all do know how this team's record looks with and without Lane Johnson. Mitch, what's your overall take on Lane Johnson today?
And the overall take with Lane Johnson is kind of simple, right? In the first half, garbage. Like, we weren't even a team. There was no chemistry. There was no nothing. Second half, it was just like a spark happened from the halftime to then. And shout out to Driscoll, man. I believe the offensive line only gave up 2 sacks all game. Is that correct? 2 or 3? Oh, there's the balloons. I'll explain. It's a MacBook. I got this update, so when you do things with your hands, the effects happen. So watch. When you go like this, confetti. I gotta turn that off. But
that's funny.
Did we give up 2 sacks?
Did we give up? Did we get 2 sacks? Did you say?
Did Jalen Hurts get sacked twice?
Oh, I gotta go to that. Hold on 1 second.
He got sacked twice for 7 yards.
Yeah.
See, that's not. I'll think that.
All right, Maddie, here's somebody who agrees with you. And Ryan, I'm not surprised. Me too, Maddie B. I'm 100% with you. And everything you said, you couldn't have said it any better. I agree with you in every way. Check's in the mail, he said, Ryan. Check is in the mail. Lou said Brandon Graham was on fire today with a new record. Yeah, I mean, he got the new record. He set the Eagles record was 189, I believe, right? Was the record for consecutive starts as an Eagle. It must absolutely suck to watch this game with Matty B. Perfection or they suck.
Come on. You guys you're being way too critical of me now. All right.
We're messing with you, Matty. Listen, you bring it. You know you're
your eyes tell me you're seeing the same thing I am. You guys are seeing the same thing I am. All right. The first half was unwatchable. It was unwatchable. And Buffalo, to their discredit, couldn't put the Eagles away. They should have put the Eagles away. Buffalo was a lot to do with not winning this game more than the Eagles do, in my opinion. What was it 6 drop passes? 11 penalties for 80 yards? Buffalo kept the Eagles in this game, didn't put them down, and the Eagles came back to their credit and won. So I get what you guys are saying, and I get the whole situation. Listen, I'm an Eagle fan, but just like everybody else, but I've been taken to the woodshed and taken to the closet too many times by Uncle Eagle, and I'm not on board all the time with this team, man. I really am not. I need to see more.
I don't want to know where Uncle Eagle touched you, okay? Can we just pass that one? But Walt brings a good point. Like, undefeated Pats didn't win a Super Bowl. I mean, sometimes there is. Listen, I'm not sinners. I'm looking at I guess maybe look at the glass half full in the situation. There is a plus to having a team who's consistently battle tested because come the playoffs, they're going to see most of the guys they should see in the playoffs by then. You know, a team like Dallas. They'll see the Niners next week. They'll see the Seahawks at one point. These are all guys that most likely they're
Detroit.
That's the only team that they wouldn't see that could make the playoffs. But Detroit, look at them. They lost to not a good Green Bay team. Now that's a divisional game. But that's my point is like you have to look at these as a whole. Like yes, they weren't pretty, but they're against teams that we always said you can't make mistakes against good teams, right? But yet they're still into it. So does that not tell you that the team is better than they're playing? They're actually keeping the teams in. They're not saying, I'm not trying to be cliche and say, here the team is we're letting them stay in the game or we beat ourselves and all those cliches. But does that not factor into it a little bit?
Well, it takes two to tango. Last week, the Chiefs couldn't catch a cold, all right? And this week, the Bills are committing penalties everywhere. They're dropping passes as well. And so it takes two to tango. The Bills should have been able to, they didn't play a perfect game either. The Eagles didn't. Listen, you let the Eagles hang around too often. I mean, do we need to see any more proof of what that's going to do to you? If you let the Eagles hang around, they're going to come back and they're going to beat you. So that formula is well known in the NFL, but these other teams are not doing their job either. So I get it, and I give him credit for being 10-1. I do. It's a great record, clinch a playoff berth. Step one complete. Now let's take care of the division. Be the first back-to-back division winner since we did it in 03-04. Step two complete, and then we move on down the line. But my point is this. When we get to February, if we happen to get to February, what is the recipe going to be for the Super Bowl against the Baltimore Ravens or against Kansas City again? This dreck in the first half? I mean, are they going to be able to survive that on the world's biggest stage? That's my concern. Always has been.
Yeah. And
I get it. I get that, Matty. I do get it. I do worry about that a little bit, but I'll worry about when that time comes. Just like when somebody says, hey, I'll make a prediction for this game. And, there's a bunch of reasons to pick the Chiefs last week. And there's even a bunch of reasons for the Eagles, like being 10-1 after the Super Bowl is very hard to do. Missing Dallas Goedert, now missing Lane Johnson. You have to worry about that. Like, a lot of things were pointing like this is going to be the game where they get their second loss of the year. And I get it, but at the same time, this team just doesn't. It's that intangible that we have. Like, and I get it. You're not going to be able to sustain this constantly, but we'll worry about that when we get there. Kind of like where I guess I was going with it. And Mitch, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I'll worry about there when we get there. Mitch, what were you about to say?
When it gets to the Niners next week, I mean, they got weapons on weapons on weapons and on defense. So for me, I don't know how I feel going up against the Niners with this not playing good in the first half and winning in the second half. I don't know if that's going to work against the Niners. Yes, they did lose 3 straight. But I'm just saying here, against the Niners, I'm not sure.
No, would you guys agree? I guess this Niners game could probably be the most. I mean, the Chiefs game is probably the best test for us, but this next Niners game can, if it happens. Let me ask this question, Matty B. They get a W against the Niners, but in this fashion, it's not too unlike tonight. Are you changing your mantra at all, or what?
No.
At what point do you do? Like I'm not sitting there. You should sit back and relax. Go, okay, guys, just wake me up when we get to the Super Bowl.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not saying that at all.
Al, I will buy you a beer in Vegas in Super Bowl 58 if they win. I'll buy you a beer. The night's on me, matter of fact. We'll go to the game. If they win, the whole night's on me. All right. And that's how I'll repay you and everybody else for my loyalty.
I like this. Missing Lane, Dallas, lost Cox, Cunningham during the game. These are 4 huge bullets. They still overcame. There's something to be said here. That is something to keep our eye on, because the whole Lane Johnson thing broke early this morning. Everybody was making the jokes. What do you do on Saturday night? Maybe take it down a notch before a game. But Cunningham, hopefully it's not a long-term thing. Hopefully Fletch just got a little tweaked or dinged. It's nothing that's going to keep these guys out any long term. But come next week, Dallas Goedert could be. I mean, they said 4 weeks, right? It's been 4 weeks. Or next week would be 4 weeks, right?
Yeah.
So we'll find out about Dallas Goedert. So that'll continue to go. Mike's back in here. The team has played like 1 or 2 complete games this year. I don't know if they played 1 complete game. Has this Eagles team? The Dolphins game. You're right. The OC play calling is questionable. I mean, they're not running the ball, which made them good last year, and it kept teams off balance when they needed to pass. So here's how I'll push back on that a little bit. I will say this much. They're not running the ball because people know that's what they do best. So they're going to try to shut that down. I'll give Jalen Hurts a couple critiques. The one, I don't know who do you blame in that Gainwell fumble? Or I don't know who they gave it to, Hurts or Gainwell. Who do you blame on that one? Was it Hurts for holding on the ball too long? Gainwell not being ready for the ball? Where do you guys put the blame on that? Pat, I'll start with you.
Hurts. I'm sorry. I know it kind of looked like it's in Gainwell's lap. I get the Hurts on that fumble. I mean, again, he was sloppy in that first half. Jalen. I mean, again, he looked like he had a careless throw that led into a pick. I mean, it wasn't just like, I don't know. It looked like he wasn't in game mode, and that's kind of like led to the turnovers. And I was screaming at TV like, dude, where's the hustle at? Where are you at right now? And it was like I said, not till second half that he took the show. So yeah, I definitely put the blame on Hurts on that one.
Mitch?
For me, it's Hurts. I mean, it's common sense there. He just looked not into the game. He looked like, oh, Lane Johnson's not here. My mind's not right. What am I doing here? For me, it's Hurts.
Matty B?
I mean, it was Hurts. Wasn't it a pass play? And then he decided the last second he's going to change it and make it a handoff. I mean, his eyes are downfield. He's looking like he's going to throw the ball. Then he switches his mind.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all kind of in agreement with this because there's been a couple times, even in the last few games, where he just held on to that ball too long, waited too long to make decisions, and you really can't do that, especially with the elements being the way that they were today. But we do have the Niners coming up. Hopefully the weather will be better, and a good reason to go to sherrystickets.com. That's right, sherrystickets.com. Family-owned and operated since 1946. Sports, concerts, theaters, hard to get tickets. You go to sherrystickets.com. The price you see on the screen is the price you pay. No hidden fees. And you save additional 10% off using that great promo code EOP10, right? EOP10 will save you 10% off at sherrystickets.com. I don't care if you even live in the Philadelphia area. Go on sherrystickets.com now for the concert, theater, and sports events around your area. Check it out. Use that promo code EOP10, sherrystickets.com. But let's get a couple. We got a couple more. They're coming in hot and heavy. Let's see. I agree with Matty B. It's too many people doing that. That we are not a Super Bowl team at the moment. Offensive play calling is bad. Listen. Here's my thing: is I can't say we're not a Super Bowl team. I just can't say we're a Super Bowl winning team just yet because there's still too much time in front of us to get hurt and get things together. But right now, you're beating the best teams in your division so far, outside of the Niners. And good teams that you would see in the Super Bowl. So to sit there and say they're not a Super Bowl team is hard for me to say. Because right now, if they're not a Super Bowl team, who are the top two teams in the NFC to make the Super Bowl?
Right. If it's not the Birds, I mean, you're going to probably have to go Niners and maybe the Cowboys.
Come on, the Cowboys.
No, I'm talking about. You said NFC. I can't say the
Cowboys.
But I can't find the Lions either.
The Lions is the reason the Lions is hard for me to say. The Lions are a good team, but they're still a young team. They still have Jared Goff at the helm, and I just don't believe in Jared Goff. And they still have a lot of. I think they could be if they continue in the right trajectory in the next couple of years. Definitely could be a Super Bowl team. But this year they'll be a playoff team. But what two teams, Matty B? What two teams do you see in the NFC or in the NFC right now who are Super Bowl teams?
Well, so I'm going to answer your I'm going to push back a little bit on the Lions thing. And I'm not pro Lions, but I guarantee a lot of people were saying that about us last year. Well, they're not a Super Bowl winning team. They got Jalen Hurts. Who the hell's this guy? I mean, listen, Jared Goff's been to a Super Bowl. He knows how to get there. I'm not saying he's a good quarterback. I'm just saying he knows how to get there. And to answer your question about who's the Super Bowl team, well, yeah. So does what was that guy from the Ravens? Was it Heath Schuler or whatever?
Begins with a T. Oh, what the hell is his name? I know
Trent Dilfer. No, Dilfer, wasn't it?
Dilfer. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, who is the Super Bowl team in the NFC? It's the team who was the last one standing. There's going to be 6 of them that are going to compete, or 7 of them. 7.
Yeah, but
7 of them are going to compete.
Super Bowl team. Who is the team? Who can be two
I
teams?
I never said
right
they
now?
weren't a Super Bowl team. The Eagles are definitely a Super Bowl team. But they're a Super Bowl winning team, like you said, Al. That's the key right here. They could definitely go to the Super Bowl, but so could the Lions. So could the Cowboys. So could the Vikings. I mean, any one of them could get there. Imagine it comes down to who does what they have to do when they have to do it. So are the Eagles in the position to compete? Yes, they are. And that's my point. Right now, the position that they're in, the way they're playing doesn't give me a warm and fuzzy about winning a Super Bowl. They are in the mix, yes, and they are one of the favorites. But that doesn't mean jack smack at the end of the day. It's the ones holding that trophy at the end that concerns me. And I don't know if the Eagles right now have the stones to do that. Or the players.
Let Mitch answer, then we'll come back to you.
I have to go with the Niners. Obviously, that's one. And I don't want to say the Cowboys right now. They haven't been with good teams. I can't
agree with the Cowboys being that. I'm not being a Cowboy hater. I'm just being honest. I can't. They are not a team. They haven't. They look great again. They look like a Super Bowl team against Carolina.
Exactly where I was going.
That to me, they are not a top 2 teams that make a Super Bowl in my eyes in the
No,
NFC.
no, I'm right there with you. There haven't been any good teams. I'm right there with you. So for me, I would have to go with the Eagles and Niners. That's basically it right now. Maybe the
Steve's-
Lions can catch up,
Yeah.
but those are basically two.
I actually, if you had to make me pick two, I would say the Niners and the Lions. I'm just saying, the Lions right now. I have to put the Eagles above the Lions right now, just because between the quarterback play differential, the experience. I agree with you, Matt. People said the same thing about us last year. We didn't beat a good team. We had an easy road to the playoffs. But when it came to the playoffs, you started to beat the top teams and you got there. You handled the Niners. So we'll see. Maybe the Lions are the Eagles of last year. Kind of like we said about the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks were the Phillies of last year.
Look how that worked out.
That worked out. But my point is, at this point in time, this team to me could win a Super Bowl, possibly, definitely could make the Super Bowl. Steve's sitting there saying, "Oh, also was missing Milton Williams. Very gutsy game." Yeah, actually, I was gonna have you, Steve. You ruined it for everybody, so thanks a lot. No, I'm just kidding. That was gonna be my dueling players of the game right there, Davis and Carter. Man, watching Davis trot down after Josh Allen was just amazing. It's not just about being a Super Bowl team right now; it's about putting yourself in position to be one. Fair statement. Fair statement. Brad, I could see Jalen Hurts being MVP candidate. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
No. He's not having an MVP season. He was having one last year, not this year. He's playing like crap this year. He's been hurt all year. He's regressed in a lot of ways with his ability to recognize coverage and to check.
Jalen Hurts is number two.
Jalen
Hurts is number 2 in the odds right now.
Oh, come on, man. You guys take off the damn green sunglasses. Come on.
I'm just telling you what the odds are saying.
Yes.
Who's won? Take a shot in the dark.
Mahomes.
Oh, actually, I'm sorry. All right, I'm looking at 3 different spots. Fox Sports actually has Jalen in number 1 at plus 250. Lamar Jackson is at 420. Patrick Mahomes at 460. Somehow Tua is at 500. Dak Prescott at 1,500, and Brock Purdy's right under Dak at 1,500. Dak and Brock Purdy are tied at plus 1,500.
What about AJ Brown? Why isn't he a consideration for the MVP?
Because they don't win MVPs, unfortunately.
Well, that's not fair.
I'm not sitting there saying, listen, I'm not saying it's right, but I'm just saying it is what it is. Sharp Football has it as Mahomes 1, Hurts 2, but very close to each other. Everybody just has them. So yeah, Hurts is in the top 3 category there. So it's not crazy, dude.
It's not. It's not.
I didn't say it was crazy.
I want a second blank of a second set of eyes to help our DC. I mean, Gannon had top 5 defense last year and still brought Fangio. All right, can we just do me a favor? Can we call the Eagles and ask them to bring in Rex Ryan just for Mike's sake?
You're going to get this all night out with my man Mike Kaepernick.
I want to make Mike happy.
Is he alive? Is Rex Ryan alive? I didn't think he was alive.
Yes.
Yeah, Rex is.
I know his dad isn't, but
he's kissing somebody's feet somewhere. Angry Anthony's here. Hey guys, what a game! Crazy.
Yes.
Jeff saying, I guess since it's pouring rain, who would have solid footing? I mean that last DeAndre Swift run that put him right in the end zone and the game. That turn off the grass. I thought he was gonna go sliding. Yeah, but second half starts was 14 completions, 3 TDs, a game-winning rushing TD. First half was awful. He had a 7 QB rating. Damn. I mean, I think they had like 26 passing yards in the first half of something crazy low. The Eagles secondary gives up 270 yards a game, which is like 28th. Ryan said it's not just the secondary. Lots of the catches are on the linebackers. There are 3 and 4 yard throws. Hopefully they're looking at that linebacker out there too. We'll see how that goes. Okay. He meant to say. Mike's back here. There's no creativity on offense. I mean, they're not using the tight end or Julio. Offset losing Goddard. I mean, they finally did get Jack Stoll a little bit into the game, and I guess when it counted the most. Eagles game plan: Dallas tight end knee, Dak toe, KC drop, 89-yard field goal into the wind. OT wide open wide receiver miss. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of funny you said that. It all came down to inches and toes. And
what?
Wait,
yeah, well,
I just gotta say this real quick. We got lucky with those 2 missed field goals.
oh yeah, I mean,
Be
there's 6
careful.
points
Be
right
careful what
there.
you say. Hey, Mitch, be careful what you say here. You cannot go against the main grain because the
Trust
KGB
me.
will come take you
Trust
away
me,
and send you to a
Stop
re-education
it.
camp, man.
No,
You gotta be
listen,
careful, brother.
Me,
I was
I have.
I was the first one to say that earlier. I was just like, hey, listen, they 6 points were off that board because of the Bills making some mistakes. So yeah, it could have been the difference, but woulda, coulda, shoulda too. Because just like Quentin was saying, there was a toe difference that cost them a point against Dallas. This Valdez Scantling drop. Let's be honest, that's a game winner. Davis, if he turns another way, game over. I mean, but I also consider and go that about other ways that the teams we lost, we could have win. I mean, that's just the way sports is in general. Yeah, I think Lou, I think you're absolutely correct. We didn't get a touch on that.
Yes.
I agree with who was calling the plays, who was calling the game again? Not who was with Romo.
Romo and
who was the other? I forgot. But Jim Nance. He said Jim was saying like, yeah, they should be moving that back for Jake Elliott, the line to gain there. But
Well, I tweeted that.
yeah, we all questioned Gannon last year with top 5 defense, but we can't question. All right, yeah. The Eagles bipolar and didn't take their pills in the first half. In the second half, they took their pills and played it with great heart. The NFL is effing sloppy. You don't win by looking at 89 49ers anymore. Those teams don't exist. Next week, tell you exactly what needs to be fixed. I mean, I kind of feel like we do know that, but I'm sure it'll expose it much more. Shameless quick plug here to wish my husband Austin Hamill a happy birthday. I had that on my list to do. Thank you, Jess. Yes, happy birthday to our boy Austin, who's done plenty of post games here, as well as great work with the attacking third. Because unfortunately, Union are out of the playoffs.
yes,
The whole crew did well. He's also taking care of. He also did the Flyers post game late last night into his birthday. So happy birthday, Austin. We have to sign.
Yes.
We have to sign that new linebacker, though, right? And what about Maddox coming back for the playoffs? That would be interesting to see. I don't know. I don't know what Maddox's timetable is like, if that's even a possibility. I would imagine for how early the injury came in and knowing what kind of injury it was, he could kind of play depending on how he's progressing. Like, I don't know. Tony Romo was unbearable. Tony Romo is always unbearable. I also agree with Matty B. Howie Roseman is the best GM ever. Matty B sounds like Tony Romo.
Oh man!
Damn.
And by the
I
way,
like Tony Romo as a commentator.
And by the way, everyone who's checking in about Matty B, make sure you check him tomorrow here on EOP tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Check out his show. Great stuff's content. So, I mean, I know you guys are plugging away about Matty B. Make sure you check him out tomorrow at 9 p.m. right here on Niger Philly Sports.
If you dare. I mean, really. If you really want to hear true talk.
Like when Matt's bringing to the table, check him out.
These teams are blowing out our over 500 too. This league blows. I mean, this league does have a ton of parity. Let's be honest. This year is definitely one of those years. Wow, angry ain't coming after Matty B. Next 2 games, both Niners and Cowboys get 10-day rest against the Eagles. Yeah. That's a good. Funny though how no one was complaining about these Pats teams. Let's see. Just yes, but pass defensive coverage can't be playing with the way some come playoff time. I don't know that VAB. Just let teams miss passes, catches. Yeah, no, listen, no, you're not going to get as lucky in the playoffs, and it's like anything. Playoff, everything is different. The speed of the game's different. The heart, the heaviness of the hits are all different, and to say that other teams aren't going to take up a notch, you can't say the Eagles aren't going to take it up a notch as well either. There's definitely a handful of concerns about both sides of the ball, but they are showing that they are overcoming these deficiencies and grind out wins. This team, this is what this team can contend for a championship.
Agreed.
No problem is when the Eagles blitz None of in the middle spying on the QB in case he runs out of the pocket. Yeah, I mean, we saw that blitz. We saw how they brought the house the one time. It did work out, and the other time it bit us square in the ass. So, I mean, that's when people sit there and go, we need to blitz more. Remember that. That's what you're asking for. Cox went out of the game because he's old and needs oxygen tank.
Oh
Let's
my
hope that
God.
let's hope
Angry
that's what it
Anthony.
is. Let's hope that's what it Hurts holding it too long. Yet Ryan agreed 100%. Hurts appeared to be pull the ball, then change his mind on the fumble. Okay, let's try it this way. Why do the Lions, Cowboys, Niners all have 3 losses and we have 1? Are the refs helping us all the time? They sure as hell ain't more hurt. Sure as ain't more hurt than us. I mean, it would be a change of pace if the refs like the Eagles more. I always felt like the other way around. Rams and Chiefs.
Okay.
Okay. Or Rams. Okay. I guess we're a little behind. Exactly, Matty B. Well, let's celebrate together.
What are you talking about, man?
All right. So my night in Vegas will be handled by Matty B and Ryan. They're gonna be hanging out. We're gonna be partying all night. Josh Sweat and Sonrex said that Josh Allen was lobbying the officials to flag him for intentional grounding instead of Reddick getting credit for a sack.
It was a horse collar. It wasn't a sack. It was a friggin' horse collar. Come on.
It was not a horse collar. I will.
Oh, God, yes,
It
it
is a
was.
horse collar. That was a
Go
horse
back and
collar.
watch the video, dude. Watch the
I
video.
see shoulder
He does
pads
not-
were out.
He had him, and he didn't even pull down on the back of his collar. His hands weren't in the
What?
pads.
Around.
You can pull on a jersey. You can't
But
pull
his
Al-
on a
hand
pad.
was up
Al,
here.
you're
His
not gonna be
elbow
taking
was
out again.
here.
Oh, Jesus. I say someone's going to slip in the NFC wildcard game. Gonna go to the Super Bowl. No, Hurts isn't anywhere playing like an MVP. He's not an MVP, but he's in the MVP conversation. That's all I'm saying.
He's great.
If true, that's very revealing. I guess he's talking about. I don't know.
Okay.
Matty B, do you still have faith in Howie asking for a friend?
When the hell did I ever have faith in Howie?
I was gonna say I don't remember. I remember that. What a kick! What kick is better, the 59-yarder or the 61-yarder over the New York Giants? I'd say it has to be today.
Uh-oh.
That one brought us to Super Bowl, so it's kind of hard to get over that one. I think somebody has
Right.
something to say here.
Uh-oh. Matt, you're in trouble.
Wait, yo, what up?
Uh-oh.
What's up, guys?
Lock the cage doors. Lock the bar doors. Here we go. It's here.
I had to jump on just to talk about the greatness that is Jalen Hurts. Going into the first half, absolutely awful. One of his worst performances I have seen in a long time. He probably his worst Eagles half of football ever. Second half, absolutely sensational. The resiliency, the fight. Every time the cards are stacked against this guy, he always seems to have an answer. Jalen Hurts in the second half was absolutely dominant in every single respect. 14 of 19, 165 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 42 rushing, and a touchdown on the ground. I am just consistently blown away by this dude's ability to be resilient. He's the most clutch quarterback I have seen in a long time, and I want to just throw that out there.
Well, thank you for bringing it in there. And to say he's not MVP would be great. Do you listen? I know stats speak a lot, but I'll ask the whole crew: like, does the fact that he doesn't seem to buckle down, doesn't seem to buckle under pressure? He is he's a winner. I mean, does that not speak MVP to people?
That to me, I mean, again, two tales of stories, right? Sucks in the first half, one of the worst, games of his life. I said in the beginning of the show, the sloppiness, the poor accurate throwing that he had. Again, the calls fumbles and all those other things that were going on in the first half. But that second half, again, what you just said, Al, just not showing levels of concern, just staying poised in the pocket. His facial expressions doesn't show frustrations, doesn't show that he's getting angry. It's just even keel. And this guy figures how to win. Whether he might not be agreeing with the playbook, he might have to make some decision on his own, and calling some audibles at the line of scrimmage, all those things. And the way he again bounces back, dealing with a knee injury. We all know, we can all see it, it's bothering him, and yet this guy in dogfights finds a way to put the birds on his back and takes it to the end zone. And here they are, 10-1. Think about that. Look how many teams are dreaming about 10-1. No matter how they win games. No matter how they win games, they are dreaming about being 10-1. They are. You don't think the New York Football Giants would love to be in the bird shooters right now? Absolutely. This team and with Jalen Hurts at the helm scares a lot of teams like the Giants. And trust me, come next week with all the hype with the 49ers, trust me, Jalen Hurts knows we're all saying in the back of their mind.
That Bills team is really good, man. That's a good Bills. They might be 6-6, but they're way better than that record indicates. Josh Allen was sensational today. In many respects, especially in the first half, looked worlds better than Jalen Hurts. His ability to improvise, extend plays, make throws, especially on big downs, big plays, big moments, 3rd and longs. I was blown away by Josh Allen. At the end of the day, the Eagles got the W. But Jalen Hurts, this was his MVP moment, man. We're going to be talking about this in like 6 weeks. This could be it.
All right, Steven saying Zacchaeus, I cannot believe that catch. It was good to see Zacchaeus, kind of get into the rhythm of the game. And it's Quentin's player of the game is Zacchaeus. It takes a lot to trust someone with 6 catches on the year. I feel like we already had a successful gauntlet. That's a question. All right, guys. They've done what they beat Dallas. They beat the Chiefs. Now they beat the Bills. They still have to play the Niners, Dallas again, and the Seahawks. If they were to lose those 3, go 3-3 in there, is that successful or not successful? Matty B, I'll start with you.
I'm sorry, I was still trying to wrap my head around the Jalen Hurts MVP defining moment thing. What was the question again?
The gauntlet, 6 games in the gauntlet, 3 games they're 3-0 in the gauntlet so far. If they were to go 3-3, would you consider that successful and that at the end of the day?
Well, seeing how the remaining gauntlet games are against NFC teams, right? No, I would not, because that means the gap in the NFC has just gotten a lot closer because we're not playing the Lions in any of those head-to-heads. So we don't know how that's all going to work out. I think, honestly, it has to go 4-0, or was it? What? How many's left? 3 of them?
3, so 4-2.
Yeah, they'd have to go 3-0 in my opinion. They'd have to do that in order to, and go 6-0 in total in order to kind of wrap things up the way they want to wrap things up. And yeah, I mean, listen, they beat the 2 AFC teams, but now they got to finish up the NFC. So that's really what I keep hearing that today on that the pregame show, right? Oh, don't worry about it. The sky's not falling if they lose to the Bills because they're an out of conference opponent. I agree. Well, now that's over with. Now we gotta win these games, right? Now no more messing around. No more coming out in the first half and not know how to play football and then play great football in the second half, because we've done that too many times all season long. So all of a sudden the script is going to flip. Jalen Hurts is going to put together 4 complete quarters, which he hasn't done but once or twice all season, but he's going to do it down the stretch of this season because he's an MVP, and that was his MVP defining moment, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mitch?
just want to get it straight.
So for me, they gotta go at least 4-5. I want that number 1 seed. I want that.
That's the ultimate goal. Yeah.
Well, yeah. If we get the number 1 seed, home field advantage, and then Hurts does not have to play the last week against the Giants at MetLife, that's ultimate win.
Mitch,
I don't want
they don't have to jump on an airplane the last 3 weeks of the regular season.
When do they play the Giants away?
They play the Giants
The last game.
and they
It's
play
the last game, but that field is terrible.
Listen,
terrible.
listen. We hopefully there. It's a backup type of game that week. We'll find out. Listen, I'll answer my part of the question. Yeah, and no, it's not successful until. I wouldn't say you have to beat all 3 teams and go 6-0 in the gauntlet for it to be considered 100% success. But if you go in there and play Dallas twice, you beat them once. You beat the Niners. As far as I'm concerned, those are the 2 games that are most important. Everything else is a cherry on top, and we already got two cherry teams with the Chiefs and the Bills now. So yeah, I would like to see him beat the Niners in Dallas. It's going to be hard fought because, I mean, you're looking at being 11-1 and 12-1 at that point. And that's a tall task to ask any team on how good, bad, or indifferent it is. So
So you
it'll
say
be difficult.
You're saying 4-2 for the gauntlet all overall? Is that's a success for you?
I mean, overall, yeah, but like I agree with you guys. The NFC games are more important. So if I could go look at the gauntlet beforehand and say pick your winning teams, yeah, the NFC team would be the ones that you want to do the most.
Yeah, 4-2 is
Yeah.
where I'm at too. I mean, again, they have 3 cupcake games against the Giants and the Cardinals to finish out the season. If they win 2 of the next 3, that'll put them at 12 wins. I mean, they're set. They're like, if they get 14 wins, they're going to have home field advantage. That Niners game's huge. That's the only team that I really truly am excited about and think that has big implications because the Dallas Cowboys will crumble when it matters, as they always do. But the Niners are built. They're built for this Eagles team for sure. So for me, if they go 4-2, I mean, wow.
Oh, that's funny. You guys are adorable. Niners and Seattle is going to beat the Eagles.
Seattle has the Eagles number. I think I don't know the record off my head, but I believe the Eagles really struggle against Seattle against the Seahawks in Seattle.
Oh, that's right. That's in Seattle, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's my kind of like. I think they're gonna lose the game because they just struggle in Seattle. They just do. They never, you know how good or bad Seattle is. I think in a if you put them in a no home field advantage, whatever. It just everybody's healthy. I think the Eagles beat them 9 out of 10 times. It's just that you're gonna be coming to the end of the gauntlet. At that point, if you do somehow beat the Niners and Dallas, or at least one of the two, by the time you get to them, and you're pretty much looking at the number 1 seed, does this team start to kind of, it becomes hard to travel, put it that way.
Yeah, Seattle's defense is really good. The Eagles really struggled with Trent McDuffie 2 weeks ago. The Seahawks have another guy in Devin Witherspoon who is legit good, and he's like he's playing as one of the best young corners in the NFL, who can kind of do some similar stuff, play in the slot and blitz. So that Seattle game is going to be really fun.
Stevenson, giving San Fran false hope would be funny so long as we stay healthy. Wilson, Seattle's teams own the Eagles. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the few losses that we had in the 2017 run. Niners don't have their starting safety who's out for the season. It's a big one, but the Niners are still a very, very good defensive team. Even with hey, listen, they have a new defensive coordinator. I agree with Sean. Definitely was not a horse collar. We are beating Geno. And next shift, fellas, let's see. T. Woolen and K. Bryant aren't bad either. Yeah, Kobe Bryant. We'll be seeing Kobe Bryant in Seattle.
And I remember gushing about Tariq Woolen. He's like a 6'4" defensive back, man. He's awesome. Just came on like gangbusters from the day he jumped on an NFL field, man. Just that Seattle defensive backfield is legit.
All right, guys, real quick reminder, if you get car accident, work injury, personal injury, criminal law, you call David R. Cherry at 610-565-0300, or you go to cherryinjurylaw.com. Again, the phone number is 610-565-0300. Workers' comp, motor vehicle, personal injury, criminal law. You need somebody to fight for your rights. David R. Cherry is the man. Go to cherryinjurylaw.com. Guys, normally, we've been all talking about who our player of the game is. Let me ask you this question. What was the defining play of the game? Let's go with that one. I want to know what was the moment you guys thought that, like, maybe you thought the Eagles were out of it. This was the chance they were going to come back. What was that defining moment for you, Pat? I'll start with you.
For me, it's going to be the second half with Devontae Smith, just constantly with that drive, taking down the field, boom, boom, boom. And then you had DeAndre Swift with the big running play for 36 yards. That kind of opened it. That, again, and once they start opening up the floodgates a little bit more, that told me the Birds are going to figure this out. And I figured this is going to be Birds fashion this year. Get this team in a dogfight. And this is where the Eagles like to get their opponents. and this is where the Eagles win. So yeah, it's definitely that opening drive right at the second shoot for me just kind of told me the whole story how how this was going to be written.
Mitch?
I have to go with Jake Elliott tying the game before overtime. I mean, Jake Elliott's always clutch. Whenever we need a field goal, he is there. I mean, Jake Elliott, if he missed that, we would have had a totally different conversation.
Dibes?
That's a great question now because there's so many moments in this game,
Right?
good and bad. But I'm gonna piggyback off of Pat because I thought what they should have done from the jump, especially with the weather, especially with no Lane Johnson and no Dallas Goedert, who is so underrated as a run blocker. And they should have ran the ball a lot more. I feel like Pat said, in the second half, the Eagles found something, especially on that left side of the offensive line. So the turning point was that 36-yard run by DeAndre Swift, which the Eagles finally started to commit to the run. They finally utilized DeAndre Swift in the second half and finally started to somewhat bully the Eagles offensive line, somewhat bully this, Bills defensive line that did work against them in the first half. So for me, it was Swift finally starting to get into that second level. Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata, even though Jason Kelce did have those back-to-back penalties, which were horrible, I thought it was that moment that the Eagles finally got back to brass taxes and finally started to win in the trenches and get Swift out in space.
And Matty B.
I'm going to go with Can I go with two? Is that okay?
Sure.
All right. My first one, I'm going to go with the Jake Elliott one, too. 59 yards in that wind and that rain. And the field was pretty much a muddy mess by that point. That was huge. And my second play of the game was the horse collar. The horse collar. That was my second play of the game.
I knew that was going to happen. I knew it.
Mad the Zebras could do what they want.
I set them up for that. Listen, the two uncharacteristic Jason Kelce moments. Really, I was really afraid I was going to bite us in the butt, and nobody would be harder on Jason Kelce than himself in this case. But the resilience and what we saw when the team drove right down the field on them, but was able to hold them to the field goal and be able to tie the game up and allowing them to do it. That I think stopping that drive where allowed them to drive the field goal, because again, I don't want to sit there and say I'm taking Jake Elliott for granted, but I just feel like Jake Elliott's almost an automatic, especially the long distance stuff. I mean, you put him at 20 yards, I'd probably be like, oh my God, I'm sweating here. But 50 yards, it's not a day in the neighborhood for him. But it definitely has to be that moment. But again, I keep going back. I'm watching the TV, I'm watching the broadcast, and I'm watching them flash to the guys on the sideline when we're all sitting there going, oh, they're going to lose this game. They're just sitting there patiently waiting their turn, just stoically waiting there for their turn, because they know once they go in there, they're going to get it. That's just they ooze the confidence that they need, and that's kind of one of those immeasurable moments or immeasurable things that this Eagles team has.
I wish Freddie Burns was on this show because he has killed me, because I've made a joke about the Eagles special teams about how it doesn't matter for years. And look at these last 2 weeks.
Right.
Look at the earlier part of the season. You can make an argument that Jake Elliott was this team's MVP. Over the last 2 weeks, Brayton Covey's showing like he's one of the best returners in the league. And now Jake Elliott this week. It's amazing how things can change in a 12-month span with special teams, because suddenly the Eagles special teams looks pretty damn good.
Yeah, that was my key to victory this morning in the pregame, or this afternoon, whatever.
Sean, I don't know. I just have this weird feeling that I know they opened up the spot, but they also brought Quez back in. But I would not be surprised if we saw Darius Leonard in Eagles green, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Did Kelce have to take a dump right before the end of regulation? Yeah, that's exactly what he had to do. As soon as he went down, I went on Twitter and started scouring Twitter, Or when I went on the back, and I'm like, the first thing he said, he ran to the bathroom and came right back. He's ready for overtime. He had to go take a poop. That's what it was. Oh God, here you go. Horse tackle in American football maneuver
Matty B, this is the definition for you, bud.
is in which a defender tackles another player by grabbing the back collar or the back inside of an opponent's shoulder pads and pulling the ball.
Or you just watch the play down by the goal line with Hassan Reddick, and that'll give you the definition.
Yeah, I don't know that. Like I said, he didn't grab inside the pads. That's like the key factor to me. To Matty B, I guess a horse collar is like a bulk. It's open to interpretation a little bit. Oh my God, Steve, I think you're right. Kelsey had to. And Sean, that's not happening.
That's going to be one of the best podcasts ever. I can't wait to hear about that.
What?
Kelsey. I'm sure that's coming out.
Oh yeah, the New Heights podcast. But like Pat said earlier, I do have a little sneak peek of this coming week. So here you go, guys. And Monday we're going to kick it off with Talking Philly Sports with Matty B. The other ones are in there for interpretation. We might be a little flex depending on what's going on, and get processed the Sixers post game, big Lakers Sixers game coming up on Monday, and the rest to follow. So keep your eye on EOP. A lot coming out this week.
Hate week this week.
Yeah, like Pat said, hate week. Like you said, we got the Lakers,
Lakers,
got the Niners, Devils, Celtics, Penguins. Yeah, it's gonna be and the Pelicans. Nobody likes the Pelicans, but no,
no.
Yeah, but no, it's gonna be a different. It's gonna be interesting this week. But guys, the Eagles are 10-1. Take it for what you want. Take it for no matter how you shake it. They are 10-1. They are 10-1 coming off a Super Bowl loss. Even if it's not the way you wanted it, even if it's not the way you expected it, even if it's not the way you think it's going to help you going forward, the team they're making history left and right. Like that's the thing you have to take away from all this. Like they are a history-making team right now. They have not done this in like 40 years since a team coming off a Super Bowl loss and they're having a 9-1 record. They are 10-1.
What does that trophy look like? What does that trophy look like?
Listen, I'm not sitting there. I'm not running down Broad Street yet, but I'm just saying. Go ahead, Doug.
To be fair, they talked about this on the broadcast, and the only team that's done it before was the Buffalo Bills back in the
91.
Won like 4 Super Bowls in a row and lost every one of them. Yeah.
My thing,
good point.
My thing is, like I said, they're just winning these grind out wins. Like I don't think the Eagles understand that they're 10-1, and none of us are sitting here talking about who's going to be a Pro Bowler this year. We're looking at the big picture. We are looking at Super Bowl, and I got to give Mike Lowers credit. Whether we win by 2 touchdowns or by a point, at the end of the day, we are the victors. At the end of the day, and we won every one of these dogfights so far going through this gauntlet. Which tells me the measuring stick is there for the Birds. Just when the Birds were the target for the NFC, they've handled their business. It hasn't been the prettiest. It doesn't feel like a 10-1 team. It feels like a 4-10 or 4-6 right now. But they are 10-1 at the end of the day. And I think come playoff time, no matter who's on the opposite side, they're going to walk out the winners because it's been dogfight after dogfight, and this team knows how to win big, or they know how to fight in dogfights, and we have the quarterback to go with it. That's the complementary piece. A lot of these teams don't have a Jalen Hurts. Doesn't tell 2 stories today. 1, he looked really sloppy. 2, he adjusted very well. Insane. And then wait till you get Dallas Goedert as another piece to his armory. It's going to just light that score up some more. So again, I love where this team is going, and so forth.
Listen, Matty B, to answer your question, what's the trophy look like? It's aiming towards a first round bye, which, let's be honest, with this team could be a huge difference between making the Super Bowl and not making the Super Bowl. So to answer your question, I know you're breaking my stones a little bit, and I agree with you. You can be perfect all season long. Hell, like I said, we bring up the Patriots, who were undefeated to the Super Bowl but lost in the Super Bowl. So ultimately, they won nothing in that year. But my point is, if right now my goal is to get my team to the first place bye and go from there. That's what my trophy looks like right now.
And to take a little bit further, look, every week we question the OC and the DC every week, but at the end of the day, we're 10-1, so they're doing something right. Me and Phil talked about this training on the EIM. There you are doing something. Brian Johnson is doing something right. Desai is doing something right. This is the first time these guys have ever took on the position of this, and they are doing something right. So I got to give kudos to Nick Sirianni and that coaching staff.
All right, guys, let's start with Mitch. Mitch, where can they find you, buddy?
But first, all I gotta say, I still can't believe we're 10-1. Like, you look on Twitter and it looks like we're 1-10. When you look on Twitter, I'm like, it's just crazy.
Well, why do you guys still follow Matty B? I keep telling you, he's only gonna poison the well a little bit. No, but keep coming. Follow Matty B, by the way.
Yes, please, please do.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Mitch Tossi, Hardcore Sports, and as the Philly Sports. Fly like an eagle on Thursday, 7:15.
Matty B, where can they find you?
So you can find me all over EOP. I am the host, the brains behind Talking Philly Sports, Matty B, as well as a host of the Clear the Ice Flyers postgame show and the Titans Final, which of course is in the off season, but find me everywhere.
Yes, Pat.
Hold on. Let me. PM and the AM, you can catch me 9 a.m. Sunday mornings. You can catch me at Clear the Ice. You can catch me. Matter of fact, I'm going to get ready to hop over with All Across All the Time. You can catch me on Steel South Friday nights. Again, every doing post game shows here with the Sixers. My man Dives here doing the Eagles. I'm all over EOP, guys. Just check me out. Catch me on X, Twitter, wherever you want to call me at Pat Vermandler 86 EOP.
And Dives.
You can find me here at Edge of Philly Sports, always being a thorn to Matty B's side every single time when you can, and that's where you'll find me.
And that's what I love about our crew, is that we can sit there and throw jabs at each other, and at the end of the day, drink a beer with each other. That's what I love about this team. But also, guys, yes, you can find me at Big Al EOP on Twitter, but also, again, with Matty B doing Clear the Ice. The Titans Final is on, of course, on a break right now because the Phillies aren't playing. Eagles post-game shows, and occasionally I fill out on a Sixers post-game show as well. And Wednesdays at 8:30 with EOP Live with Joey and Fred. Check us out there. And let's see, last one. When is EOP going from live from a Delco bar? Laugh out loud. You never know.
You never know.
Something's in the works there, my friend. But other than that, guys, I want to thank everybody for joining tonight. I want to thank the Eagles for being 10-1, even though it doesn't feel that way. And actually, you know what? I'm okay with it because I think this just juices this team up. Like this team thrives off of it. Just they eat it alive. So keep it up. Eagles 37, Bills 34. Yes, your Philadelphia Eagles are 10-1. They take on the 49ers next week around the same time. We will have full coverage all week long talking about. I'm sure we're gonna see the appearance of some of these Niners fans who've been under said rock for the last 9 months or whatever it's been since. But yeah, go ahead, Dives.
That's the game. That's the game that's been circled on the calendar since the schedule release. The Niners and all the moaning and all the complaining from taking out Brock Purdy, and they would have won if Purdy was healthy. And oh man, I hope Niners fans join this channel this week because we have a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure we'll all be taking our jabs at it as well. So, guys, thank you for joining us. For Mitch, for Matty, for Dives, for Pat, I'm Al, and we are EOP, and we are out of here.